Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk a little bit of my experience doing shadow work with the goddess Demeter. And those who follow me know that when I started doing shadow work, I worked with dark goddesses, and I felt that it helped to not so much just bring forth things I wasn't even aware of, but tackle some of the, I guess you could say, issues that I have or developed over the years due to some of the things that I went through growing up and things like that, whether it was influences from family or traumas or even religious beliefs that I grew up with that are still kind of ingrained in me in a certain way, but these are things that I'm, over the years I've been trying to work through, and it's a slow process, and I'm not even trying to rush it, just so long as I am able to get through it and move past it. So that's what's important to me, not the length of time it takes to work out these issues. This time around, I wanted to work with goddesses who aren't necessarily dark goddesses. Not that I won't be working with dark goddesses through this cycle of my shadow work, but I felt that there are some things that other goddesses can bring forth or shine a light on that may not be dark goddesses. So this time I worked with Demeter, and sorry, I keep fixing my shirt. This time I worked with Demeter, or Demeter, however you pronounce her name. I say Demeter majority of the time. It literally is how it just flashes in my head. And I do have some notes. The notes are more of specifics of what I have done and my reactions or what transpired. And I'm going to say, I feel like I had a huge breakthrough with Demeter, and she brought forth or brought out something in me that I didn't even realize was an issue for me. And like, okay, this book, and I'm sure you've seen it in other videos, but also when I talk about the YouTube pagan challenge that had to do with, do you keep journals or things like that. So this is my pagan journal, which this is something that I want to hand down to my girls eventually. One of the things I want to hand down to them, whether or not they decide to be pagan. The book is really, it's seen better days, but in this book, when I do research for certain things, like maybe for the Sabbats, like what meals I want to make or what I might want to do, which almost always turns out I don't have time to do, but anyways, also with deities, certain deities that I might be interacting with or intend to or want to, I'll do research and I'll look up things like their days that might be sacred to them, herbs that might be sacred, crystals, invocations, things like that. So I had like invocations, I had rituals for Demeter or connecting with Demeter. I had Demeter invocations, herbs, things like that, which I wound up not using. The herbs, yes, that's how I made the incense that I had consecrated to her, but I did not really do the invocation. Well, I think in the beginning I did, but the day that I really had that profound breakthrough, it was very organic. It was words that just came to me, came from the heart, I guess. Almost a beseeching kind of way. But my purpose in working with her was to tap into feelings that might be so deeply buried that I'm not aware that might be there, or just to connect in some way with feelings that are not at the surface. So I just kind of sat there and just, I don't know, talked to her. I lit my incense and I had the crystals that I have. One of the main crystals I had was garnet, which, like I said, was like representation of the pomegranate seeds that Persephone consumed, because I wanted, to deal with feelings, I didn't want it just to be happy, motherly feelings, nurturing feelings. Those are feelings I don't really feel I have to tap into per se. Maybe I do, as to why I go the extent that I go when it comes to certain things. But I really wanted to get down to the gritty feelings, the grittier feelings. So that's why I wanted that there. That's why I wanted to be able to tap into that as well. Not just the happy stuff, but the not so happy. And she made me see that I had unresolved issues. One of which was in the area of my sister's death, my youngest sister, who was killed in a car accident. And I never processed those emotions at that time. I never processed them. I kind of just shoved them down. When I would feel them well up, I would shove them down, because I felt like I had to be the strongest person in the family, that while everyone else was falling apart, I had to be that rock for everyone, that person everyone could lean on, can rely on to be a support. And I don't mean like helping around the house and stuff, because to be honest, the neighborhood I grew up in is absolutely amazing. Yes, I did grow up in like a ghetto type neighborhood, but my neighborhood, and many neighborhoods in New York and in Brooklyn and Queens and places like that, tend to be very close knit. Even if there might be like issues with someone, when it's time to pull together, everyone comes together. And when my sister died, my whole neighborhood pulled together for my family. And we do this for each other all the time. They brought over food. Like, we must not have cooked for 2 weeks. There was plenty of food. They would come, they would take care of the home for us. They cleaned the house. They would sit with us. They, whatever it took. And they always knew when was the appropriate time to leave, not to overstay, to give family their room to grieve. And so when I was connecting with Demeter, I recognized that once I started thinking about my sister, I tried to push it away. And then I realized that she was bringing this up, and I need to not do that. I had to not fight against it. And so I cried. I cried for a very long time. But it was something, it was like cleansing, recognizing that it's okay to remember her. And it's not that I never talk about her. I do. And I remember her, and I remember all the wonderful things about her. She was a little girl. There were no bad things. She was 4, but she was an amazing person, and someone you knew that was going to grow up to do amazing things. But Demeter helped me realize that I need to stop doing that. No matter how painful something is, I need to rip that band-aid off. I need to deal with it. I need to process it. I need to move forward with it a part of me. Okay. Sorry about that. Alright. Okay. So interruptions. Anyways, also, you might hear lawnmowers going off in the background. Interruptions everywhere. Anyways, where was I? Oh, okay. So she helped me realize I need to process these kinds of emotions. I need to not bury them so deep that while I'm not dealing with it, elements of it tends to seep out. You know what I mean? Like, in this whole thing with Demeter, I realized that things that are unpleasant to me, I don't really deal with. I kind of just shove it away. I bury it. I don't process it. I don't deal with it. I don't integrate it into myself, into my being, which is something I feel is necessary. Our good experiences and our bad experiences what make us up. There are some things that I have integrated into my being that were bad. As an adult, I learned to process some of these things, but there are some things that I do bury very, very deep hurts and things like that. And I've learned that I need to not do that. I need to just, no matter how unpleasant it is, I need to just get it out there. I think I cried one other time when my sister passed away. One wasn't so much crying. I mean, I couldn't keep back all of the tears at the funeral. It was very, like, I just kept telling myself, you can't break down. You have to be strong for your family. So it was more like just little tears that would come, you know. And I wore sunglasses because I didn't want people to see me crying, because that's another issue I have. Having people see my deepest hurts or emotions affect me, because growing up under the conditions that I grew up in, it was not a beneficial thing. So I learned to keep the smile on my face and push down the hurts. So that's something Demeter is telling me, or has told me basically, no, not to do that. So I think my time with working with Demeter is coming to a close basically, and I will be moving on to the next goddess. Which one that is right now, I don't know. As you know, when I started this, I had initially thought maybe I should work with Kali to work through like fears and things like that, but after a while I came to see that it was tapping into deep emotions is what I really needed to do first. So as I wrap up with this and am going to the next goddess, we'll see, and I'll let you all know who that will be at that time once I come to realize who that will be. So I think that is pretty much it. So I want to thank you for watching, and blessed be.